I first met Dr. Sadananda pattanayak in the NBBDCP, then known as National Anti-Malarial Program, NAM, in a meeting in Delhi where he was chairing the session. To me, he appeared a gentleman listening intently to the debate and discussions that was going on in the meeting, asking occasional incisive questions, being thoroughly absorbed in the discussion that was taking place across the tables. When the time came to summarize and to give recommendations, I was amazed at his profound knowledge of the malaria control in India, of course, being at the helm of malaria control program in India for long and a WHO advisor. He knew the ups and downs of malaria, had personally seen the reasons for its going south, and he would give recommendations to plug those holes so that in future malaria control is achieved in India and perhaps elimination may be arrived at. I had the opportunity to meet him multiple times in different meetings, be it a NBBTCP meeting or having a rollback malaria meeting or framing guidelines for malaria management of malaria in India, and also framing national drug policy for malaria in India by ICMR and NIMR, etc. He always surprised me with his updated knowledge, even at that elderly age, and keeping abreast with the latest literature of the world and particularly things going on in India. In the first meeting, during the lunchtime, he called me up, we started chit-chatting, and I found out that he knew my father, perhaps they were contemporaries, and knew few of my relatives also. Out of the dining hall, when I was trying to get a pan out of my pocket to chew, he saw that. He called me up and asked me whether this pan, I have brought it from Odisha. I said yes. And they wanted one more pan from me. And this has been his habit in the subsequent meetings whenever I came across with, during our subsequent encounters or meetings. We had the opportunity to bring him to Rourkela in 2003 at an annual meeting for our Ispat General Hospital, and where he spoke about the emerging and re-emerging diseases, and then in 2003 could predict that the future communicable diseases would be mostly the viral diseases. And lo and behold, we had a COVID pandemic which ravaged the world, and how prophetic his words were. He was a very modest gentleman, simple in his conduct, and he could connect with all the rank and files of the people, irrespective of the age, social status, their designations, etc. Everybody could approach him with and fearlessly talk to him about things which you would hesitate to talk to such a man of such a stature. The first time I was invited to his house, there was a vehicle provided by an NIMR. The driver who took me to his house was profusely praising him on our way, and from there I could know how well he was liked by his staff, even if he had been demitted office long ago. I thank Mr. Sadananda pattanayak his son, for giving me this opportunity to speak a few words in his birth centenary, which is on the 26th of November 2025. And I feel humbled to speak a few words about the great young man. Incidentally, I was the first recipient for the Sadananda Memorial Award that was instituted in 2014 at Goa, and I am very thankful to the society for conferring me this award.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Pradeep Srivastav, a friend, neighbor and well-wisher of the Pattanayak family. Today, as we gather to celebrate the centenary of Dr. Pattanayak, I am reminded of the friendship of two people, Dr. S. Pattanayak and Dr. J.B. Srivastav. My earliest memories of Dr. Pattanayak date back to 67-68, when he was the director at NMEP and my father was the director at the adjoining NICD. What struck me most at that impressionable age was his gentle, calm personality with an affable, ever-smiling face. Thereafter, though my meetings with him were fleeting, I did get to meet him occasionally, but always at Diwali. Dr. Pattanayak would soon go on to be part of the WHO family, which in hindsight would be a career-defining shift. It would change his activities from the national stage to the Asian stage. It would mark his next focus to devote his expertise on preventive health for the well-being of the residents of the Asian countries. While his work took him to all corners of the globe, his soul remained rooted in his native Orissa. His initial days in the Ministry of Health earned him the option to be part of the newly developed Swasthya colony, an offer that he readily opted for. So while he travelled the globe, it would be Mrs. Pattanayak on whom the responsibility fell to construct the house at the allotted site. My father too, as DGHS, was entitled to a plot in the same colony, but the work of construction was left to my mother, and she did it in an excellent manner. By the early 80s, the two families had shifted into the new abodes at B91 and B110 Swasthya. As luck would have ordained, two friends Dr. Pattanayak and Dr. J.B. Srivastava, who were initially colleagues, landed up being bang opposite neighbors at B91 and B110 Swasthya. Meanwhile, as all humans, the initial young friends followed the laws of nature and passed into oblivion, one earlier and the other slightly later. But both completed their illustrious careers and left behind a legacy of friendship which was taken up by the next generation, Pranav and myself. Our ties were further cemented by the two of us, though this time we remained in diverse professions. This legacy has been passed over to the third generation, and it's a matter of pride that 3 generations have occupied the same house, the plot of which was purchased by their forefathers. This journey would have been impossible without the support of their respective spouses, and this credit goes to the initial 2 generations. They enhanced the ties by acting as pillars laden with concrete-like love. It's a matter of pride that the third and the latest generation has opted for and decided to carry on that legacy of friendship of the founding friends. The accompanying photographs sum up the brief history. Thank you.